Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about teaching you how to create print-on-demand designs using Canva, and most recently using Photopea as well, so that you can put your designs on all sorts of different products, t-shirts, mugs, you name it, and sell it on platforms such as Amazon Merch on Demand, Etsy, Redbubble, and more. So if this is something that you're interested in learning about, please do stick around. So in today's video, we're going to be going over how to create this design right here. This is specifically to try to answer a comment that one of the viewers had posted, and it was in regards to they had watched a video on double exposures on another channel. It was a little unclear, and so they wanted me to do a video on it to sort of clear things up. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make this design. This design was very similar to the one shown on that video, which is why I went ahead and did this specific style and this specific design. It's different, but it's similar in terms of content. I did go ahead and do this a totally different way. So I went ahead and showed you the easier way to do this because again, time is money. We want to make it fast and easy. So if you would like to learn how to do this double exposure effect with the photos, go ahead and stick around. So as always, I'm going to go ahead and start with my blank background. It is 4500 by 5400 pixels, and in this video I am going to be attempting to answer a question that one of you had asked. It was in relationship to another video that they had seen going over how to create sort of a double exposure look, and there's a lot of different ways that you can achieve this look. I'm going to show you a much easier way. So I did go ahead and watch that video, and although it was a very short video, it was a little bit more complex than you needed to make it. There's much easier ways to go about doing that sort of thing. So I'm going to show you a really simple way to sort of get this style design. So to start with, I'm going to create a frame. So in this design, I'm going to go ahead and try to duplicate that design pretty close, obviously not exactly, but very similar to the style that they had. And the way that they had it was a couple different pictures inside of a head silhouette. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with my head silhouette. And so I'm going to be designing for black. I'll go ahead and make the background color black. And I'll go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to come up to elements. I did already do a search, but I will show you here. So you can put silhouette, you can put man. I think I put man head. And so to see what came up, man head. On this one, I am going to want graphics. Now, the video that somebody asked me about, it did show how to do it with a photo and then doing a background removal and then doing a duotone and making it all one color. And yes, you can do that. You can do it with a photo. You can turn any photo into a silhouette, but it's a lot easier if you already have a silhouette. So again, you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can go about doing things, but you know, you always want to kind of go the easier way, considering time is money. You don't want to spend a lot of extra time if you don't have to. So yes, I could go through and make it a photo and turn the photo into a silhouette and do the background removal and all of that. Or I could just pick an already made silhouette, and boy, that was a lot faster. So let's start with this one. So this is going to be my frame, and I'm going to want my frame to fill up pretty close to the whole page. So something like that. And so for this one, I'm going to be using a clipping mask and using Photopea like I've done on a lot of other videos. That is going to be a way faster and easier method to get a photo inside of a silhouette type shape than the way that was shown in the video. And I'm sorry if you didn't see this video. This is a very specific question that somebody gave me, but I'll still show you how to do this because it's a cool technique. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as sort of a head silhouette. And I'm going to spell silhouette wrong because of course I am. I don't know how to spell silhouette, whatever. That's one of those hard words. Silhouette. And so this is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to download it. I'm going to do a transparent background. Click download. Perfect. All right. So I've got my background. And now there's a couple other things that I am going to do. Let's go ahead and duplicate this page. So up here, there's some different tabs that you can use. If I put duplicate page, it's going to open another page and it's going to give me the exact same thing. So now I have the exact same head, the exact same size, and in the exact same space. Sometimes that can be convenient for some of these clipping masks, just to make sure that you know where everything is lining up. So it's there in case I need it for reference. Now I'm going to start here. The photo or the design that was shown in the video was a couple of different sunsets. So you can do a search for sunset, and that's what I did. And I went ahead and looked for photos. And the technique, you have to be able to blend the photos together. They used a lot of just sort of black on black blending. So if you found a couple of photos that sort of had this bottom where it was black and then the sunset comes up, it was a lot easier to blend that way. Sorry, and this video that the person was asking about was one of those where there was no talking or explaining. It was just a couple minutes of just watching somebody do it on the screen very quickly. So I could definitely see how it would be, you know, challenging to sort of understand or follow what's going on. Again, if you ever have any difficulty following me or any questions, you can always put them in the comment section below. I will try to get back to them as quickly as I can. So right now I'm just going ahead and scrolling through some of the different sunset options, looking for anything that looks like a nice sunset but also has a lot of black. So a lot of that black is easy to blend. And so that was a good one here. And then even this one here I kind of like. And the way that this worked was they inverted the bottom picture. So it would be as though I took this picture and I'm going to just go ahead and flip vertical and then pull it down so that the black kind of blends right into the black, something like that. It's not blending perfectly, so the way that they were able to blend it in the video that the person asked me about was to use a little bit of a blur black blend to get that in, which I can show you. But right now, I've got my sunsets, and to see where they line up on my frame underneath, I can use a little transparency. So if I click the top one, I come over here to transparency, I can bring it down, and so now I can see where it's going to line up on my frame, and I can do that again for the bottom one too, just to make sure everything looks like it's lining up pretty nice. I have a little bit of an overlap right there, so that's okay. It's giving me that black, and I've got my entire frame covered, so that looks pretty cool. Now right now, where this sunset is lining up, it's got the sun here, and that's kind of cool, but let's say I wanted the sun there. I could always take this, flip it horizontal, and have the sun sort of on the other side there. And so I can play where some of these sit. And so something like that, and then I'd get the sun more in this area, and I kind of like that a little bit better. And so again, just playing with it. So I like where these are all sitting. And so let's go ahead and do that little bit of a blend. So to do the blend, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the transparency now so I can see real good. And so to make sure these are blended together really good, I can come up here again to elements, and I can search for a blur. And for this one, I'm going to want a graphic. And so you can see there's lots of different blurs in different colors. And I'm looking for something that's more of a black blur. Here's a nice one that's sort of an ovally shape, and that's nice and easy. So sometimes the ovally shapes will do. There's the circular ones. Any of the blurs will work pretty well. You're looking for something that's, you know, nice and black. And sometimes you can even search for color. So up here it says black blur. And so here are all my different black blurs. And so I'm just trying to make sure that there's no hard line here. So even though these are both very dark, you can still sometimes see a slight variation in color that's going to make it give us a tiny bit of a line. So to get rid of that, I can go ahead, pick any one of these little black blurs and just sort of put it right over that line. And I might, you know, oops, hit the wrong thing. It's hard to see when it's that dark, but make it shrink down just a little bit. And so now I'm sort of blurring that, and I can Control D and copy the blur. Again, if I hit Control D, it's just going to copy my blur. and I can pull it all the way across the page. So now I've got a little bit of a blur going. And if I really want to make it wide, I can take one of these circles that's got a much bigger blur. Again, I know it's really hard to see what you're doing. That is okay, because it's just going to come out as a blur on your design. And so I'm going to take this circle. Okay. Zoom out. All right. So you can't really see it, but that's kind of the point, is to hide the line between the pictures. So again, if you're going black to black, it's really easy to blur those, or to blend those. So that's how a lot of the double exposures are done. You have to, you know, have colors that can easily blend into one another, and you can just sort of use those blurs to do it. And so now I've got my, you know, 2 sunsets here that are going to go into the guy's head. Now I can always add some other really cool type of designs. So they added a few flourishes here or there. Let's say I wanted to add, you know, the moon or some birds or something like that. I mean, you can always come up with different flourishes. Sometimes silhouettes will look good too. But let's say I wanted to add some birds in the sky on this top one. Silhouettes can work really well. So I can pick any of these. I could also use photos of birds as well. So it really doesn't matter, but here's some little bird silhouettes so that I could put sort of across the top if I wanted to, something like that. I could bring them down, I can make them big, I can make them small, you know, however I wanted to. If I want to see where it's going to line up on the head again, I can go back to my transparency. And so now I can see where this is going to line up on the person's head real nice. I could do the same thing down here and bring down my transparency. And so for this design, I'm going to make it a little bit more creative. So, you know, the double exposure is cool, but let's add some more elements to it. Let's make it a little bit more fun. Let's say that I want to add some silhouettes. There were some, I'm going to spell this wrong again. There are some really cool silhouettes in here. Man silhouettes, women silhouettes, people jumping. So lots of times those silhouettes will look really cool on a photo background. A lot of fun things I can do. So whenever you've got a chance to just sort of look through some of these silhouettes, sometimes you can find some really fun ones that you can play with. So again, let's say I want to do something a little different, a little creative. And I'm going to see what's sort of available to me. And there's going to be animals, there's going to be people, flowers, shapes, all sorts of really cool things. And so since I'm going with sort of a surreal look, considering this is all inside somebody's head, I might as well make it a little bit of a surreal design. And so you can pull through. I could be doing this for hours. There's a ton of really cool silhouettes. I'm just going to go ahead and go to my recently used, because I did already, for time's sake, go through this and look and find the ones I wanted. Otherwise, again, you could be scrolling for a long time looking at different silhouettes. So I'm on my recently used now. I'm going to come down and find those silhouettes that I wanted to use. And so this is a lot easier. So these are a couple of the silhouettes I wanted to use. One was going to be this little child, which I thought was kind of cool. And I'm going to put them right up here and literally have them sort of look like they're swinging from the top of the head. Something like that. And maybe I don't want all these birds up here. Or maybe I want just a few birds. Maybe a different angle. Maybe like that with the clouds. So something like that I did like. I had this moon here that I thought looked pretty cool. And so if I wanted to, oops. Again, don't worry if you accidentally move something. You can always hit the back button. It'll just take you right back. So don't freak out if you accidentally moved something. I can take this moon. I could put it here. I can make it nice and small. I could have it sort of going off the edge, you know, however I want. I could take the moon and add some transparency to it too. So I could, you know, sort of make it lighter and put it in the background there. And then I also wanted to do this couple I thought was really cool, and I was going to do this couple sort of right down here so that they were sort of in the neck area. And again, as long as it's going right off the edge, that's going to be where it crops when it gets put into sort of your head frame. So think of the head as a big frame. We're going to put this whole thing as a clipping mask over it. Anything that goes outside the edge is just going to get cut off. So we're only looking at what is falling inside this head frame. So you can put any image kind of coming in off the side, and that's going to look okay, and it's just going to get cropped off right at the top. So something like that I think looks pretty cool there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to lose my transparency on this one. I'm going to lose my transparency on this one. And so this is the design that I'm going to put in the head. As it turns out, I really didn't need to keep this one here. Sometimes I'll take it and put it on top just to make sure everything looks really good if I've got like a ton of layers. But this one was pretty simple. I didn't have too many layers, so it was really easy to just use my transparency to see what was underneath. So let's go ahead. Doesn't matter what I title this, but let's just go ahead and put sunset, double exposure. And I'm going to download this top page right here. It's a PNG. I don't need the transparent background, doesn't matter. I just want this top page, page 1, and I'm just going to go ahead and click download. So once it's downloaded, I can just go ahead and jump right over to Photopea. Now I've been using this a lot because I really find Photopea super helpful for clipping masks. Also, if I'm going to do any kind of groovy text, those are the two things I use it for the most. But if this is your first video watching, Photopea is another graphic design type site, but it is totally 100% free to use. You don't have to sign up, you don't have to log in, you don't have to give any credit card information. You literally type Photopea into your browser, click on it, and you will come to this page right here where it says Photopea. And from here, all I have to do is click open from my computer, and we're going to start with the frame. So you're going to go ahead and select your silhouette head frame and click open. And if you give it a second, it's going to pull up that head. So now here I've got my head frame. Look at that. And so it's just the silhouette that I'm going to use. So don't worry about, again, when you use silhouettes, it doesn't matter what is inside of it or what the colors are or anything, because it is just giving you the shape. So this is the shape that I'm using. And now I'm going to come to the top left-hand corner where it says File. And this time we're going to go down about 3 spaces where it says Open and Place. You click on your Open and Place. Your download should pop up, and then you're going to go ahead and select the double exposure photos that you just did. Give it a second, it should open, and it's going to go right on top. So now I've got my 2 layers here. If you look to the right hand side, you'll see 2 layers. Your background layer, that's your silhouette, and then this top layer up here, this is my double exposure that popped in here. And now what we are going to do is we're just going to use a clipping mask. So real easy. Again, at the top, I'm going to go over to where it says layer. Okay, click that, and then if you scroll around halfway down, it'll say clipping mask. That's the one that you want, clipping mask. And if you just click on that, it does all the work for you. And just like that, your photo is now inside this head. And so that is that easy. Now all I have to do is export this, and I can go right back onto Canva and finish up anything I want. So that's literally all I needed Photopea for. It was that fast and that easy. So I'm going to come to the left-hand corner where it says File. About halfway down, it'll say Export As. We're going to go Export as PNG. So you'll click that, and it'll take a second, but it's going to pull up a box for you. And so in this box, it's going to have all your original information. So you've got the name, and you can go ahead and rename it here if you want to. It's going to have your original dimensions, which is 4500 by 5400. And then it's going to say quality, and you can play with the quality of the image. So I usually bring it up pretty high, maybe around 95-ish. If it's a detailed, like a really detailed photo, and you go with 100, it may be too big to reopen in Canva. So if that's the case, just bring your quality down just a little bit to 95, and that'll usually do it so that you can open it. So that's where I have it at now. Otherwise, I'm just going to hit save. I really don't need to change anything. So it's just going to export that, and then I can go right back over to my Canva page. So here I was. I'm going to go down to my second page. I'm just going to go ahead and lose that. I don't need it. And now what I'm going to do is pull up the image that I just downloaded. So you can come to your left-hand tabs here. Where it says Uploads, you can click on that. And then what you can do is hit Upload Files. It'll pull up your downloads, and then at the top should be what you just downloaded from Photopea. Okay, so it is done downloading. So now I can just click on it and I can just drag it right onto my page. I can close this tab right here, and now I've got my silhouette. Now in the video that I've been referencing this whole time, it showed the head on sort of a blurred background. So what they had done was they went to elements, they went to blur, they used photos, more of a photo, and they used more of a whitish blur like this, you know, lots of different blurs. And they had that in the background of the shot, which looked really cool. You know, I won't lie, if I take this blur here and I use it as a backdrop and I send to back, it's going to pop my head forward. And so theirs was something sort of like this. Problem is, this is not going to print good on a shirt. So having just sort of white blur background here, you know, it's really cool for graphic design. And so some of these sites that do Canva videos will show you really cool design skills and really cool, you know, elements that you can use, but they're not necessarily applicable for print on demand, or they're not the best for print on demand. So when I'm thinking about print on demand and I want to be able to put this on something like a shirt, this blur background won't work for me. So get rid of that. If I had it on a black background, like if I put it on a black shirt, now I really can't see the edges of this at all. I could always put it on a lighter color shirt. So let's say I put it on a white shirt. You know, now I could see it pretty well on a white shirt, but let's say I wanted to be able to put it on a darker shirt. What I can do is I can always add an outline to this, and I can make it, you know, a thin outline, a thick outline. I can, you know, make it decorative however I want. So let's just say this is on a black shirt. I can't see it. I want to add an outline. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to edit image. And now what I can do is go to the shadow feature. And so let's say I'm going to pick shadows, and I'm going to pick this glow because it's going to give me the outline all the way around. So I'm going to hit glow. And it can sometimes take a minute, but there you go. Now there's 3 little lines right here. If I click on that, it's going to pull up my options for me. So I don't want any kind of a blur, and I don't want any kind of a transparency. So I'm going to want a solid outline. And now here's where I can pick my outline color. Now I don't want it to be black because obviously I want to be able to see it. I can do a white outline. I could do a yellow outline. I could do a blue outline. So I could kind of do it however I think might look good. I can also try to match some of the colors in the photo as well. So if I went up to the little add new color arrow, I can use the eyedrop feature here to pick a color from the design. So if I click on this, I can hover anywhere over my design to pick a color. So I could pick, let's say, the blue color from the sky, and it's giving me just that little blue outline. That's a little too dark. It's, you know, I'm not really seeing the edges here. So let's say I'm going to go with a lighter color. So I'll do it again. Click my little eyedropper, hover over the design. Maybe I want to go with some of the orangey colors that I see more in the bottom sunset. That was a little bit more brown. Let's go with a little bit lighter orangey. There's a little orangey one, so I kind of like that. Looks kind of cool. So let's say I'm going to go with the orange. Up here I can also pick the size of the outline. So right now it's a very small outline. It says 4. As I bring this up, it's going to make that outline really thick. I mean, I could put a big chunky outline on it if I wanted to. I think that's a bit much. So a nice thin outline I think might look good. I can also layer outlines too, so sometimes that'll look kind of cool. And if I really wanted to blend it into a darker background, I could layer outlines and then just make each outline a little bit darker and a little bit darker and a little bit darker. And so let's say I started off with this sort of yellow outline. I hit apply. It does take a few seconds to sort of finalize. And so we'll give it a sec to finalize. And there you can see when it does, it'll crop it down to just the size of the head. And give it a sec. So that looks okay by itself. I could add another outline around it now if I wanted to, and just like I said, do darker and darker outlines. I could do the blue around it now, or even give it more of that sort of sunset look by doing a sort of darker orange and sort of blend it into sort of the browns or the blacks there. That might look cool. And I'll show you how to do that. I can click on it again, go back up to edit image, go back up to shadows, and we can layer shadows as many times as we want. So you can put as many layers on here as you want. If you wanted the same color, but you just wanted to make it thicker, you could add another outline. So always better to go thin, and then you can add more. You can't take away. If you want to take away, you have to start over. So again, I'm going to lose the blur, lose the transparency. Let's say this time I wanted to go with a darker color. I'm going to use my eyedrop feature again, and I'm going to do one of sort of the darker oranges there. So that one's a little bit deeper, a little bit darker. I can play with the size. So again, if I bring the size out, you can see how it's a little bit darker. But let's say I'm going to keep it pretty small. So something like that. What do I have it at? 14, just enough to see. Hit apply. Now I've got a double outline on it. There you go. Something like that. And so I can do that as many times as I want. If I wanted to sort of blend it into the black, I could do it that way too. I could just leave it alone how it is. I think it looks fine. I'm gonna bring this out so it's nice and big so that I can see where everything is lining up. And so now you can see that sort of double outline there. And so that's how you would go about creating this sort of double exposure look. And this was a lot simpler than the way shown in the video that was sent to me. But if you like this effect, you can use, any silhouette that you want. So this just happened to use a head, but you can use a silhouette of pretty much anything, any shape. That's the cool thing about a clipping mask, is you can put a clipping mask over any shape that you want. So this one just happened to use the head. And so that's how you would go ahead and just sort of blend two photos in together. I think it looks really cool with the silhouette on top. So that's how I would go ahead and do it. Once I've got it all done, I can go ahead now and just download my image. So I can keep it sunsets, double exposure, call it head. And then I can just sort of download it now. So I'm going to download this. It's a PNG. This, I do want to be a transparent background. For this one, I just want to go ahead and download the page that I am on, which should be page number 2 is my current page. Click done. I can download that, and now it's ready to put on any product I want, whether it's a shirt or a poster or a card. This might actually look nice on a greeting card. There's a lot of different print on demand, obviously things you could do. It might also look nice on a sticker. So you can get very creative. Something like this might be cool for Valentine's Day. Maybe not with the guy's head, but a heart or something like that. Just the two people. I've seen a lot of this sort of style done on greeting cards. And so again, you can just be creative, but that's how you would go ahead and just blend the two photos together real easy. And so that is it for this specific technique. If you have any questions about this, go ahead and put them in the comment section below. Again, if you have any other videos that you saw maybe on another channel that were a little unclear and you'd like me to try to clarify them, again, you can put that down there. I hope your sales are going well. Continue to push forward, continue to grow your portfolio. Again, the longer you do this, the more designs you have, the more diverse your portfolio becomes, the more products you have, the more platforms you're on, the more sales you are going to make, and eventually the more, obviously, income that you're going to make. That's obviously why we're all doing this, is we're trying to get a little bit more of a supplemental income or a passive income, or maybe this is your full-time job income. So keep growing your skills. And I hope you found this useful. That's it for today's video. If you found this useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.